for people to continue on and to overcome their challenges, and we do it as a group and we do it together. And I couldn't say enough about the organization.
Did you have something?
Yeah, so is it safe to say without Achilles International, you running across the country doesn't happen?
Yeah, it could have been a very different story.
Yeah,
it could have been a very different story.
It's pretty interesting and pretty epic that's what kind of got you going and gave you the motivation to get up and start running, and now you're giving back and helping out the organization. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, part of this is the community. And had you mentioned, Dan, that not only are the volunteers helping, guiding, but you both, Jason and you have both mentioned that you've gotten probably more from this than what you've given. Oh, and I think that's a huge thing, and that's what we're trying to do here with what we do is, when everybody does better, everybody does better. And in today's society, there's a lot of us that are withdrawn or we're very introverted, and we live in an apartment complex, and we talk to maybe 2 of the 15 units that live there, and we're living on top of each other, but we don't know anybody. Right. And we all have these different things. We've had maybe depressive episodes or just not wanting to get out of bed, and it's like, but bringing us together and talking about these sorts of things and getting it out there and letting people know you're not alone, you're not a snowflake. It's okay to feel like this. Yeah. I feel like this sometimes, and sometimes you just have to sit in it. But there's other things that we can do to get out of this, and part of that is getting involved and helping and being around other people. And I tell him all the time, there's a reason why they put people in solitary confinement in prison. Yeah. You know what I mean? We have to get out. You have to interact. You need to be around people. It's good. It's good for you to do these sorts of things. So I think this is amazing, and hopefully we can. I don't know if I can get out of here in time with what I have to get done today, I'm definitely going to start coming because, like I said, it's about a half mile, 3/4 from my house, and I'm always looking to run with people. And as I said, I want to do some things with helping other people. With that being said, the reason why we're here is because I saw Jason post about an event that is going on at Wash Park next Saturday. So, if you want to talk about that, and then we'll let Jason, talk a little bit about it too. Sure. And then we can get into how people can help out or get involved.
For sure, yeah. So I think Jason and I, we had this idea. I don't know if this was when we were doing Hope Pass in July, but
3 Leadville finishers right here, ladies and gentlemen.
This podcast is sponsored to you by the Leadville 100.
I just want to say, my two of my 3 paces at Leadville, I met at Achilles.
Cool.
They're guide runners, and they're solid. They're solid people, solid runners. So we were, Jason said he was back east and ran with the Achilles chapter in Rhode Island, and they had a Hope and Possibility run, for fundraising run for their chapter. And Jason would be able to better talk about this, but people with disabilities, a lot of times they're living on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, and that's not, you're not making a lot of money. You don't have a lot of money in the account if that's the case. Race entry fees are going up, and what we're doing is we decided that we do this run-a-thon thing because it seems like people are always willing to pay other people to be in pain. And we thought, okay, let's do this run-a-thon. We'll raise money, and what we're going to do with that money is try and offset the cost for some of our athletes for race entry fees. A lot of local races here, they treat us really well. Guides run for free. Our athletes usually get a pretty good discount. But some other, the bigger races, they don't give us a deal. And what we're looking for is to run for 12 hours in Wash Park and raise some money for our organization. But
cool. And would that be on the inner loop?
We'll see. Okay. Inner loop, outer loop. I think we have a few athletes coming down. So I know Luann, she prefers to run on the outer loop because it's gravel and a little softer. Amelia prefers the outer loop. But yeah, we'll see. It's kind of informal, but it's about racking up the miles and raising some money for our organization.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jason, did you have anything you wanted to add into that before I?
Yeah, I suppose the one thing that I would say is racing is a big Dan touched on the fact that, a lot of folks who end up, with a disability end up on fixed income. Some don't, but some do. And for those that do, being part of a race can be a race entry fee can be a barrier to participation. And we never want that to happen, because the training is fun. The Monday night, training runs are good. It's community. It's that type of thing. But we all know there's a difference between training and race day. And race day is about community with the entire community. It's not just with, the Achilles group. So, like, for instance, take the rock and roll half marathon that just happened. And there's a big difference between, going on a group run on a Monday night with 20 folks or 30 folks versus lining up, having the excitement of, starting at a race with 6,000 people, and you're running and people are encouraging you, people you never knew. I wear my blind bib, and people are like, it's so inspiring. You don't even know it's inspiring because I'm just running, right? I'm just running blind. Somebody else may be running with depression or dyslexia or whatever. They just don't have a sign on. But what's inspiring is that we're a community cheering and encouraging each other on. And that experience is what we're raising money for, is to help people to understand that, we're all inspiring. We're all athletes. We're all capable, and we're all in it together. And I think that's the huge piece of, what the money ends up going towards, is to make sure that, our athletes in particular have the opportunity to do that. And it's critical.
And do you have an estimate right now as to how many people are participating next week?
I think I know at least. I know we got at least 15 people coming down.
Okay.
And then however many donors they've got, people just pledging money. But we've got a nice little handful of us.
And what time is it going to start? What time do I need to be at the starting line?
7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
November 9th, Wash Park. Jason, are we going to meet in front of the rec center, or are we going to meet on the other side?
Yeah, what we're looking at doing is we're looking at meeting at the rec center.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, Rich, we're going to have an aid station set up, so like a little mini aid for our runners or whoever's running around the park, and we'll have water, Gatorade, different food. We'll also have a pledge table with information about Achilles. There's a couple folks that will be, I have a book out, and I will be selling that with the profits going to Achilles. I was speaking to one of our other athletes today who's a blind potter, an artist, and she actually makes coffee mugs, and she's going to be doing a similar type of thing.
Nice.
It's going to be great. And the other thing, too, is it's during a 12-hour time period. People do not need to run or walk or wheel the entire amount of time. The way pledges are taken is, for any athlete or supporter who wants to be involved and help raise the money for our chapter, as long as you are running, walking, or wheeling, meaning in a wheelchair, during that time period, a certain set amount of miles, and it's your responsibility to have a Garmin watch or some way to capture what that amount of miles is. And then you will go to your pledgeors, whoever's supporting you, and if they've pledged, $1 a mile, and you move $1 a mile or 5 miles during that time period, then you've earned $5 for Achilles. There are a handful of us, meaning me, Dan, and I, who are committed to doing the full 12 hours.
You can count me in there.
In excess of 50 miles apiece.
Yeah, my goal is 50. my secret goal is to try and run more than Jason.
Well, I'm going to let you two duke it out, and I'm going to try to clean up the scraps so you guys kill each other.
and well, the one thing I can tell is I got a very, very generous donor who donated $5 a mile to me up to 50 miles, and then $10 per mile after 50 miles.
Oh my goodness!
So
all right,
he's put it out there to try to put down as many as I can.
Very cool.
All right.
And the other beautiful thing is we also have 2 anonymous donors. One donor donated 50 cents a mile for every mile that any runner, either donor or Achilles athlete or a guide or Achilles athlete or whomever is running during that day. So say we have 20 people running that day, this donor will pledge 50 cents per mile for every mile that all 20 of those runners run. We have another donor who's donated 47 cents a mile for all of the miles that all the folks will run.
So even
so
if
we have the potential to make some serious money for the chapter.
So even if we show up without a donor, you have someone donating 50 cents.
That's right.
Nice. Yeah. So come on down.
Is there some kind of minimum that you want from each runner with the donations, or no?
Could someone donate just a lump sum, like instead of like per mile, if they wanted to just say, hey, I love what you're doing, here's $100?
Absolutely. Yeah, we just recently received a check from the Holland and Hart Foundation, just flat amount. Yeah. So, and we're a 501c3, so I'll talk to our accountant about how to get that all written off. I didn't take a tax law class in law school.
And would you prefer people to, when the smoke settles and say the three of us end up running 70 miles, as Jason has put out on social media that he wants to do, if I get donations, would you prefer that lump sum from each individual be made out to Achilles International Denver, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer it myself, but Achilles International Colorado.
Achilles International Colorado.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a donate button on the site or anything like that because obviously you guys want or are willing to take donations anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the other thing is, outside of monetary donations, are you looking for shoes, gear, those sorts of things as well?
Okay, so I don't think on our website we don't have a donate button. So we don't have that set up where we can do it online. We're still a bit old-fashioned right now. And then second, when it comes to gear, the Brooks rep used to come down to our group, and she would hand out, the shoes that were, ran in a few times. Stuff like that if it's fairly new. For the most part, I guess I can't speak for all of our athletes, but for the most part, they've got pretty good gear. I don't know, Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if there's a rep out there that would like to help out an athlete with good stuff or overrun stuff, our folks can always do that. I know the shoes were very popular for our guides and our athletes. Mm-hmm. That was a real nice perk. The real thing with the run-a-thon, though, I think we're trying to basically donate or achieve cash donations so we can pay those registration fees. But like any other 501c3, it's very valuable for us. If there is the possibility of gear, but it's not kind of like old used stuff. It's kind of like
I was thinking like new stuff from either some of the local running stores here, or I have
definitely.
I've met a lot of people in my travels and know people that are in the industry and also own specialty shops, and I have closets full of race shirts. So I used to coach high school cross country, so once or twice a year I load up a box with swag that I get from races that I'm not the guy that's going to hold on to a race from 10 years ago. If it's going to go to a high school kid that needs a dry fit running shirt and is going to have a cool story, like, how did you get that Leadville shirt? And this guy that used to coach here has run the race, and he gives the stuff back to our coach, and then we coach makes us have a push-up contest to see who's going to get the Leadville jacket or whatever. So that's why I was just wondering if people needed a gear and stuff like that.
Tech shirts are always good. Shoes, those are the big money items. Yeah, and again, if you're on a fixed income, those are difficult purchases.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then in addition to starting to come to the group runs and doing the run-a-thon with you guys, I am a running coach. And so one of the big things I do, in addition to just making people's workouts, I've spent a lot of time studying biomechanics, and I've also worked with amputees and teaching them how to run with their prosthetics properly.
Cool.
So if that's ever something that we wanted to do in terms of, I know Jason has told me many times that he kicks roots and rocks and stuff like that, and I think that we could also work on some technique stuff there so that